Chapter 75, London Paralympic Games 2012. Conclusion. 4 silver medals and 1 bronze medal. More medals than anyone in Great Britain, abled or disabled, but still a huge disappointment for me. I expected a gold for the 100 metres backstroke, but obviously I hadn't done enough training, and I wasn't good enough on this occasion. This all sounds very bitter, but I was so annoyed, believing I could have done better. I suppose the harsh reality check was that everybody wanted to win that gold medal too, and that on that occasion, someone else wanted it more than me. Looking at it from a more realistic point of view, I do have MS. I shouldn't even be in the swimming pool, let alone winning numerous medals. But I see the MS as an excuse only. I am defeating the illness and bending the rules which is a wonderful thing for me, and for anyone with an illness or ailment of any kind. 14 years ago, I was struggling to move and praying that I was going to be able to see every time I woke up. I believed that I had done something wrong and that this awful illness was my punishment or my payback, even though I had no idea what it was that I had done so incredibly wrong. Hopefully, I have now inspired people to believe that an end, for example, getting cancer or MS, need not be an actual end of your life. This book was written originally to tell my family how much I was hurting and explain to them the reasons I kept crying. But it is now proof that dreams can stay alive, even when they have been crushed, shattered, burned, or completely destroyed. Please keep believing in yourself, and your dreams can and will come true, eventually. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, even if you don't see it yet. A smile paints 1,000 pictures, but costs nothing to produce. One of your smiles may change everything for the other person you are talking to, or walking down the street, as they will have to smile in return. Do your good deed of the day, and let someone smile too. Now I will take you on a trip through my London 2012 Paralympic Games experience. London Paralympic Games, the greatest show on earth. My home games with the immense crowd, which I feel was the most awe-inspiring part of the games. My home games, my home crowd, and all that incredible support. This was better than any dream I had ever dreamed. I was so excited as I packed my bags for the 2012 Paralympic Games, and I felt ready to face my fastest ever races. I had done all the hard training and I had swum the distance. I was ready. The main holding camp for the Paralympic swimmers was held in Manchester. The rest of the Great Britain Paralympics team, however, went to my hometown of Bath, where they stayed in the university's rooms, apparently. Although these are great, they are not quite as luxurious as the rooms in the Hilton Hotel in Manchester, which all the Paralympic swimmers were awarded with. We all went from Manchester to London on a smart Virgin train, and everyone was both nervous and excited and ready for their races. Arriving in London and seeing the vastness of the Olympic Village only added to my anticipation. Looking around, my mouth opened in awe. Incredible. There were signs everywhere and security gates, buses, everything. It was so huge that golf buggies with drivers were on hand to transport the athletes around the park's many facilities. There was one main food hall that the athletes used for their meals. In the food hall, every dish imaginable was served free to the athletes, be they frog's legs, yuck, or at McDonald's Big Mac. McDonald's was one of my main supporters of the Olympics and the Paralympic Games. My favourite meal is lasagna, and there were plenty of Italian lasagna or other pasta to fuel my performance at the Games. The apartment that I shared with 5 other athletes seemed to cater for our every wish. It was spacious, and there was a lounge where we could socialise and watch Channel 4 TV, another of the main sponsors who covered the whole of the Paralympic Games. We were cut off from all other TV channels and media, such as radio, but this all only served to increase my anticipation for my races and contact with the watching world. I had to view the opening ceremony for the Paralympics on TV, as I was racing within the first 3 days of the Games. It would have meant too much walking for me should I have attended the ceremony itself, but I did go to bed that night, imagining walking out in front of the audience, wearing my GB team kit, and a face full of pride. Unfortunately, I couldn't relax in the lounge with my favourite tiffle with a cup of tea, as although our apartment in the Olympic Village had every soft drink imaginable, thanks to Coca-Cola, another amazing sponsor, there were no tea bags. I should have brought my own. Adrian brought some for me on a different occasion along with a kettle. We had single beds to sleep in, with our very own special Paralympic pillowcase and duvet, which we obviously brought back home with us afterwards. What lovely memorabilia for the athletes. To me, this Olympic Village was a kingdom of dreams. Dreams that I and every other athlete there had of achieving our very best performances ever. This was a kingdom for the best in every field. The atmosphere in the village pulsated with the athletes' anticipation of competing and achieving our dreams that years of hard training had created. Our apartment had patio doors which backed onto the village, and from there we could see the fireworks of the opening village. Our apartment had patio doors which backed onto the village, and from there we could see the fireworks of the opening ceremony. Each explosion of colour in the night sky seemed to lift my spirits high in the anticipation of the races. The atmosphere was electric in this Olympic Village, this kingdom of dreams. Very close to the Olympic Village was a 1.9 million square foot shopping mall, built especially for the Olympians. Although I didn't have massive amounts of spare time with my family when we were able to see each other, we would walk to the mall and enjoy meals together. In fact, I was incredibly fortunate in the time I had together with my family. Both they and Adrian had rented a house together in Ashford, Kent, and they would use the Javelin train service, especially set up for the Olympics. It would only take 30 minutes for my family to reach London, and with the 8 super fast trains running every hour, it was very convenient. It is amazing how little incidents make up the fabric of family fun times. One memory we always laugh about involved an upside-down sheep. In the farm next to the home my family were renting was a flock of sheep. One of the sheep was lying on its back with its legs in the air. My sister Christy was very worried that the sheep was ill or on its deathbed, despite being assured by the farmer that sheep do, in fact, lie on their back sometimes. As the hours passed, the sheep did not turn over, and Christy is now teased for repeating over and over and over, "We've got to save the sheep." Christy was so worried about the sheep that she tried to force Nicholas and Adrian to push it over back onto its feet. After an incredible 48 hours, and because Christy was pushing them so much, Nicholas and Adrian pushed the sheep over, and they all watched as the sheep trotted off back to its flock. "Yes, we have saved the sheep," was Christy's celebration song. We still look back and laugh at the funny sheep lying on its back for a full 2 days, and my family's concern over saving its little life. We filmed the whole event on an iPad so we can watch whenever we would need to have a giggle. Some of my time at the Olympics was taken up with interviews. In fact, before the Olympics, I visited the velodrome for an event organised by Coca-Cola. Westfield Shopping Mall was also the place where, before the Olympics, all dressed up in my Commonwealth kit, Dizzy Rascal and I did a production. It is wonderful to be able to travel to different locations and meet people from all walks of life. I had been offered some amazing experiences which I am deeply grateful for, incredible chances that most people can only dream about. I am so blessed. My family and Adrian were a great support to me when I raced. Adrian particularly enjoyed the atmosphere of an 18,000 strong crowd. My first race was 100 metres butterfly, which I enjoy. I enjoy swimming it even though it is so hard. I swam the heats, but not in the great time. I qualified for the finals, however, where I came 5th. This was a bit of a shock, as I expected to swim really well, as I had done all that training. Stephanie, 100 metres backstroke tomorrow. I hope you enjoy it. Adrian gave me a kiss for that night. The next day I was excited. 100 metres backstroke, my chance at gold. Come on, girl, you can do it. The heats were quite good and I qualified for the finals in 2nd place. For each of the races, the athletes had to walk out from behind a curtain and onto the poolside, and this was such a special time because of the crowd's reaction. In lane 5 we have, representing Great Britain, Stephanie Millward. Way! The crowd all screamed for me and a huge smile came to my face. 18,000 people were cheering for me, never mind all the people watching on the television sets at home. I felt so good when I got behind the blocks. This was my favourite race. Enjoy it, Adrian had said, as had Julia Airley, my coach from Corsham. Enjoy it, Stephanie. You are at your own Olympics or Paralympic Games, and everyone is cheering for you. This is your dream. I swam quite well, finishing in second place. I am second in the whole wide world. Second. I was annoyed that I hadn't won the gold, but the girl who came first swam faster than my personal best time. So on this occasion, she therefore deserved to win. After my race, I struggled to stand, and a couple of people had to help drag me onto the wheelchair. They pushed me off poolside so I could get ready for my medal ceremony. I went to the pool for my swim down, then got changed and blow dried my hair so I looked quite nice for my presentation. The Paralympians were given 2 tracksuits, both in red, white and blue, but one was more white, which was the one we wore to the races, and one that was more blue, which we wore to the presentations. We were also given a pair of fantastic red trainers, which I still wear with pride. I changed into my blue tracksuit, the one that everybody recognises, and moved over to the registration area where we had to meet before the medal ceremonies. I was placed in the first spot behind the young ladies who were carrying the medals, and behind me was the gold medal winner, followed by the third place bronze medal winner. When the music started, we walked out onto the poolside, then stopped behind the podium. I smiled the whole time, feeling amazing. Because my legs were wobbly after my race, I had to ask someone to walk next to me so I could hold their arm to help with my stability. This same person helped me to stand up onto the podium when I was called. In silver place from Great Britain, Stephanie Millward. I stood up, putting my hand forward to shake the hand of the presenter and accept my bouquet of flowers. The cheer from the crowd was amazing and increased when I put the bouquet of flowers up in the air towards the crowd. The experience still remains with me forever. The silver medal around my neck was so shiny and so heavy. It weighs approximately 0.5 kilogram. I went for dinner with my family and showed them my medal, which they were all so impressed with. What a special dinner with the people I love, celebrating an unforgettable experience. After the 100 metres backstroke, I was given 2 days off, where I didn't have any races, just training. And I used this as a perfect opportunity to do an interview with CBBC. I knew the wonderful presenter Katie Monahan from my school days. Katie is a lovely person, but she also struggled with an illness that affects her legs, and she often has to rest in her wheelchair. Katie saw this as a wonderful chance for me to be interviewed by a young boy called Ruben, who had Down syndrome. Ruben was great at talking to me during the interview, and he especially loved holding the medal, which was on show. This was later shown on the television. What an exciting addition to an already incredible Paralympics. The press was also always standing around waiting to catch everyone for interviews. One person waiting for me was my good friend Oliver Holt from the Daily Mirror, who always is so supportive. I remember just after the Olympic and Paralympic trials, when he came to speak to me, he introduced himself saying that he had taken his 2 daughters to watch some of the good swimmers, but that they had spotted me, perfectly able before my race, with the most powerful yet pretty strokes. Yet then I shook viciously afterwards. They had been interested in finding out what was wrong with me, so their dad decided to interview me for his article in the Daily Mirror. I told his daughters that we would go swimming together, and I hope we will do one day. Oliver Holt, a wonderful man to know. At another memorable interview in London, just after one of my races, I was afflicted by spasms, and one of the reporters wanted to interview me. I was sitting in my wheelchair, but I wanted to do the interview standing up. Although you couldn't see them, I had one person holding me around the waist to steady me, one person on each side holding onto my arms, and another 4 ready to help me stand or to catch me if I fall as I was shaking so much. I received and still receive a lot of support from local radio stations. I am good friends with an amazing man called Will Walder and a few of the other incredible BBC Wiltshire radio presenters. They are always cheering me on and often come to all the exciting places that I go to. They are such a support. On one occasion, Will Walder gave me a whole tub of gorgeous ice cream. Thank you, Will. Another great support for me are the local newspapers, the Gazette and Herald, the Wiltshire Times, and of course the amazing Bath Chronicle, who have been a great support since helping me fight for beta-furon all those years ago. I never felt like I was swimming on my own, as I knew I had a strong support team behind me. My MS affected me at the games, but thankfully there were always kind and helpful people to help me. For example, whenever I swam in a relay, I would have to be guided by one of the teammates. They would be my eyes and would call out to me when the lane was clear so I could make my way across to the other side of the pool. It is this thoughtfulness and help that I value, as it gives me a quality of life as well as the ability to participate in my chosen sport. And when I finish a race and hear congratulations from a teammate, I feel as if I've achieved something great as a member of the Great Britain wonderful Paralympic swimming team. The recurring pain in my left arm was treated through the use of an altitude tent at a local university. Both beforehand and on my days off, I would be driven by the games makers to the university, where I would sit inside the altitude tent. There I would either read a book or listen to music. It proves that MS can be managed through the help and support of others, and that dreams can be achieved, no matter how great the barrier. While I was in London, I was given a little letter which contained a lovely drawing of me in my GB kit. This was drawn by Nicole, a young girl who suffers from neurofibromatosis, NF1. This is an awful disease which causes Nicole a lot of pain, but she still fights her hardest to go to school, and she enjoys doing judo lessons. Nicole and her mum Vanessa came to London to watch and support me, and my family were lucky enough to meet them. I'm still trying to go and visit them, but chat often over emails. They are an inspirational family. Security at the Olympics was tight, and we were carefully checked upon entering and leaving the Olympic Village. We took specially provided buses to the training and swimming areas, and we had to submit to more security checks when arriving and leaving these locations. There seemed to have been no expense spared with security at the Olympic Village and the training and competing areas. 5 Olympic-sized pools had been temporarily built for the athletes to train in. There was also a warm-up and swim-down pool for before and after the races. And of course, the all-important racing pool. Together, the pools held some 10 million litres of water. Amazing. The roof was wave-like in its design, and its arena longer than Heathrow's Terminal 5. Wow. A long time ago, I realised I needed to be mentally prepared for each race I swam. I needed to swim each race beforehand in my head, planning each detail down to the finest degree. This I did with my third race, which was the 4x100 metres freestyle relay. We won bronze medal for this race. 2 silvers followed in the 400 free and 200 individual medley. For the former, a new European record of 4:40 was set, an incredible time for me. I did have an extra battle to fight along with the MS and the spasms, and I had a very stiff neck. I just woke up with a stiff neck and I had to go to the physio and let them try to ease the lock that had settled in my neck. The amazing physios Paul and Ali had to spend hours trying to release my neck. I swam the 400 metres freestyle, unable to turn my head to one side, and it was so uncomfortable having to breathe on one side only. I wonder how much faster I would have been without the stiff neck, which lasted for days. The last race I was to swim at the Paralympics was the 4x100 metres medley relay. I was to swim the 100 metres butterfly, and we were hoping for gold as we were the world record holders. Unfortunately, the coach we had allocated to us insisted that we leave for the arena 6 hours prior to the actual race. My teammates spoke up for me. Stephanie will never cope without a proper rest for such a long time before the race. He did not listen and insisted we left early. As a result, we came second, missing the gold by 3/100ths of a second, behind the winning team from Australia. It was very disappointing and frustrating, and we were all near to tears as we knew we should have won that race. I felt that I had lost it because my time had been quite slow. Sitting around at a poolside for 6 hours exhausts anyone, never mind an MS sufferer where fatigue, which is intense tiredness, is a key symptom. At least we know we can win it next time, as we will be adamant to ignore the coach whatever he says. These are our races and our world records, therefore our gold medals. The experience at the Games, however, was ultimately a positive one. Little things stood out for me about the 2012 Paralympic races, like a dream where you remember bright colours, heightened feelings, and simple words when you wake up. I remember that before stepping out from behind the curtain which separated the swimmers from the racing pool, there was a really cheerful man who would say things to me such as, "Okay, you ready for this race? You're going to swim really fast then." He was lovely and always made me smile. I remember how stepping out from behind the curtain was like stepping out onto a stage. As my name was called, Lane 4, Great Britain, Stephanie Millward. The home crowd cheered so loudly, my heart pounded in my chest, and I felt like joining in the celebration. I remember the huge noise of support as I stood next to the pool, ready to represent the audience's very own special nation. And I remember how it made me want to do my very best. I remember my blue, red and white designer Team GB tracksuit, which I wore when stepping out onto the podium to accept my medals. The excitement of the crowd cheering in victory seemed to surge right through me, and I remember raise my hand in triumph. The flowing mane of the British lion etched on the back of all of the Paralympic tracksuits, echoing the soaring of my spirits at my victory. I had fought and overcome, as had so many other heroes from Great Britain. Yes, the Paralympics did bring with them disappointments. I did not get the gold in the 100 metres backstroke, and so it was only natural that I felt disappointed in myself. Yet looking at it from a more realistic point of view, I have MS. It is a miracle that I am even swimming in a swimming pool, let alone winning medals. 4 silver medals and 1 bronze. More medals than anyone in Great Britain, whether able or disabled. Adrian said something so important to me after I won the first medal. "You have won 1 silver medal. All you have to do now is enjoy the event." So I did. Walking out onto the poolside, I had a huge smile on my face, and I put up an arm to appreciate the cheer from the crowd. It was incredible. The crowd were incredible. Even the heats were amazing. In lane 4 from Great Britain, we have Stephanie Millward. Yeah! Everyone screamed their support, and I couldn't help but put my hand up and smile and feel their wonderful support. "Stephanie, you're meant to be getting ready and mentally prepared for your race." That cheer from the crowd was all the mental preparation I needed, thank you. To Stephanie, now over to you. You are a leader of tremendous ability, with amazing potential and great positive ability, and you really can achieve all you wish for as long as you don't limit yourself by your external world and internal thoughts, patterns, or suggestions that may let you think otherwise. With so many people saying it can't be done, all it takes is an imagination. Michael Phelps. I couldn't say anything is impossible. I think that everything is possible, as long as you put your mind to it and put the work in and the time in. Michael Phelps. I concentrate on preparing to swim my race and let the other swimmers think about me, not with me, then. Amanda Beard. In many sports, they have a physical effort on your performance. In swimming, only psychological. If you worry about what your rival is doing, you take your mind off what you are doing and so fail to concentrate on your performance. You can't put a limit on anything. The more you dream, the further you go. Michael Phelps. These quotes came from colleagues of yours in the swimming world. Champions just like you. Amazing athletes who went the extra miles like you do. Challenging the test of time against the best you can become like you do. Breaking records that individuals thought were impossible like you do. Doing what others don't believe in like you do. Facing the largest challenges like you do. Overcoming them like you do. Gaining gold medals and breaking the barriers of time like you do. And don't let doubt, fear, or anyone else take that away from you, and do it like you do. Love, Andy Milton, my forever friend and my hypnotherapist. Thank you, Andy. I remember my favourite race, the 100 backstroke. Every stroke, the turn. I had it all planned out, and I remember pushing myself to the utter limit of endurance, and then to finish, and to hear I had won silver. I blew a kiss up in the direction of where my family was sitting. Thank you for your amazing support. I kept remembering Adrian's wise words echoing in my head as I prepared for each race. Now that you've won 1 medal, just go out and enjoy the rest of your races. And lastly, but probably most importantly, I remember the faces of my family who had travelled from far and wide to see me swim. Paul from New York, Christy from Columbus, Ohio, Nicholas from Cambodia, my dad from Lincoln, and my mum from Lynmouth. As I bent down to accept the heavy silver medal, I remembered their love and support which made this all possible for me. My Adrian, who had motivated me to reach again for my Olympic dreams. My mum, a rock and an absolute superstar. My angel, who had been through every high and low with me. My brothers and sister, my first ever swimming team whose individual successes propelled me forward to achieve this dream. My dad, my hero, whose legacy of love will never leave me. I remember all those who journeyed beside me, and I think, we did it. We did it together. Please keep believing in yourself and your dreams, and they can and will come true. There is a light at the end of every tunnel, even if you don't see it yet. A smile paints 1,000 pictures, but costs absolutely nothing to produce. One of your smiles may change everything for someone else, as they will have to smile in return. Do your good deed for the day and let someone smile too. This chapter about my experience at the London 2012 Paralympic Games is my smile, my gift to you.